We've got a little more for you, including what Sonic the Hedgehog means to a very special Charlottesville boy, and the significance goes way beyond a high score in videos. Finally tonight, Sonic the Hedgehog is running wildly in the Chandler household this weekend. 12-year-old Christian Chandler of Charlottesville was the winner in a video game shopping spree. Christian is one of only about 100 winners nationally to receive $1,000 worth of Sega games and equipment. For his parents, it's just another example of how well he's doing. Christian is a high-functioning autistic child. This past fall, on his own initiative, he entered a contest based on a favorite cartoon character.
What I had to do was exactly watch Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, and I'd listen to what Sonic says at the end of it and write it down for a whole week, and then I had to mail it in, and it has to be drawn out of a hat, and I just won.
And Christian's father says it only takes a few hours for him to master an electronic game and then move on to another. I can't master any of them. That's it for now, and it's just coming up on the NBA basketball game at 5:30. It's not 6:30, it's 5:30. We'll see you back here at 11. Thanks for watching.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Nationally to receive $1,000 worth of Sega video games and equipment. Christian is autistic, but his entering the contest completely of his own accord was a sign to his parents of how well he is getting along.
What I had to do was exactly watch Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, and I'd listen to what Sonic says at the end of it and write it down for a whole week, and then I had to mail it in, and it has to be drawn out of a hat, and I just won.
And Christian's father says it only takes a few hours for the boy to master one of the electronic games before he moves on to another one.
Warning, this film involves...
Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean
sex,
to start talking
violence,
about
bullying, and serious...
wrong thing. I didn't mean to start just completely focusing on Chris Chan, but he's just the most compelling person on the internet for a very long time. Chris Chan is the lol cow par excellence. Now, if you don't know who Chris Chan is, well, bless your heart, first of all, if you don't know who Chris Chan is. But I'm sorry, he used to be Christian Weston Chandler, now he's Christine Weston Chandler. And there is literally like about an hour plus documentary on YouTube. Just look up Chris Chan documentary. It's absolutely worth your time. Pay attention to it. And you will find out everything that has gone wrong, and everything has gone wrong in the life of Chris Chan. Oh my. So in the last, I guess, year or two, Chris Chan has come out and says that Chris Chan is actually a girl. Chris Chan also suffers autism. So I got to thinking, what would be a wonderful thing to talk about here? I think it would be a lot of fun to spend a few minutes talking about autism and transgender disorder, because this just hit the news just the other day. It's absolutely fantastic. Normally I take Saturdays off of social media. I go and I do real things in the real world, but today I decided that I would just stay in, do some prep work on this, and serenade you lovely people with with a few articles that I think might lead us to some kind of conclusion about autism and transgender. I don't even know if transgender is considered a disorder or not. I don't know what the PC term is. I'm not trying too hard to get my channel banned. You know what? If anybody out there still does not believe that I used to be a ghostwriter from Milo Yiannopoulos, I would have just written this as a Breitbart article and called it "All Transgender People Have Autism," or, "Autism Causes Transgender Disorder." And it would have been a fantastic article, and it would have held him over to 6 to 8 months as a new thing to talk about. But yeah, the other year I wrote for him the article saying that birth control makes women crazy, and if I had still been working for him, I would currently be working on an article saying that everybody who's transgender just has autism. People are already making fun of my Canadian voice. Volume's too low. I was just on Skype with I was just on Skype actually with the person who invented the Deploraball originally. The inventor of the Deploraball was not lispy old Mike, and it was not what's his name, the Mr. Fake News guy, the inventor of the deplorable. You can reach her if you reach out to the press team at MAGA3X. Absolutely fantastic. Just gonna spend a minute here saying hi to the chat. Hi, chat. That's what we need. Trans, autistic, sonic slash fiction. That's what we already have. That's what Chris Chan has been leading up to his entire life. uh, let's see here. You were on fire last night, Margaret. Keep on fire. I got home really late. It was like midnight. I went to bed, and then all of a sudden, I shouldn't have checked social media. I should never check Twitter before I go to bed. I usually sort of, I don't know, I was out playing games. I was doing really terrible at games. Anyway, yeah, I just came home. I just get really, really tired about the whole Milo thing because I have to explain it over and over and over again. Yeah, because I used to ghostwrite for him. I posted a while ago the original draft that I wrote on the birth control article, which was on a Google Doc on my account, on my Gmail account. Yeah, so that's one bit of evidence that I had, and I also reposted the evidence showing that I had signed to Breitbart last fall of 2015. So yeah, I'm in this deep. Yeah, getting mad at me for the bandwidth. Why so many videos lately? Because it's fucking cold out. That's why. It's really cold. I'd much rather stay at home and do videos. I spent a lot of time visiting over the holidays, and I'm getting a lot better at my schedule. I'm doing more scheduling now, so and plus I just really enjoy this. It takes me a really long time. Sometimes I spend too much time dawdling and working on like short form videos, which are great for sharing, but I just prefer the live stream model. I think that I work better on the live stream model. I like talking to you guys, and I honestly think it's a lot more fun. And I love YouTube because it is fun for me. It can be not fun to just do short form videos. The PC term is tranny. Great, I'm getting a strike against my channel now. Take a look at the I wonder if I start identifying as a woman, they'll put me in the female cell block. Damn it, Ralph, you had to go for that ASAP. So let me know if you can hear me a little bit better. Loving the mass videos lately. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. There's so much content constantly. I've been spending a lot more time just reading as much news as possible. Not even the entire articles, just the headlines. It's really interesting to see a headline pop up, to see what one person does with it, and to see what the next 7 people do with it, and to see where everything else goes. I'm really, really interested in the analytics of news. So, it's really interesting to see where you first come across a news article. If I come across an article first on poll, then I know it's going to be of a much different bent than if I would find it shared on Facebook or shared on Twitter. Let's see, crouching gender, hidden cack. Sorry, I'm not dressed to the nines for this, but you know what? It's comfier this way. It's much comfier this way. Speaking of things that aren't comfy, I'm seeing so many mixed reactions to the Switch. I only watched like a few minutes of the Switch live stream as it was going on because I was in bed. And when I'm in bed, one of the drugs that I take to manage my illness is it has a mild tranquilizer quality to it. So when I go to bed, I just kind of want to zone out. So I thought that I thought that I had fever dreamed this ARMS video game. But apparently it's real, and apparently people are actually planning to spend money on a game like that. It's just, if you want to play the game ARMS, you can just play Rock'em Sock'em Robots after chugging a half bottle of cough syrup, in my opinion. Go back to the comment section. Mario's back in Brooklyn. I only saw the photo chops, and the May-Mays afterwards in terms of Mario. Yeah, the prices for the peripherals on those are just nuts. I don't know who did that. I don't know who's been doing press for Nintendo lately, but they're like, hey, it's a Switch. You can take this to your next garden party with all of your friends. I've never seen anybody play video games like that in that kind of a social atmosphere, even at nerd conventions, even with a whole bunch of nerds. Nobody does that. We understand that the outdoors is for doing outdoor stuff. Like Pokemon Go only lasted like 7 weeks tops. Like that's as far as you can get a nerd to go outside to play Avigia anymore. It's also only 720p, which kind of sucks, but it does have a Zelda game on it. And it's a Zelda game. Like, you're gonna enjoy it. You will find some. It'll be a 3 to 5 at the lowest. It's a Zelda game. What do you want? Comment section. What are you saying? Don't come to school tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday, buddy. Yeah, I would like to ask all of you, unless you have autism or unless you have transgender, please do not post in the chat. I would find it incredibly disappointing and triggering and generally very stressful. And I would not be able to defend any of your actions unless you're, autistic or transgender. Are we still at that point in the world where I have to start this off by saying, like, well, I have friends who are on the autism spectrum disorder and I have friends who are transgender? I think I still have to do that, but it's boring. Uh, the wor- so let's see. Don't come to church tomorrow. Somebody has already admitted that he does not. I'm sorry if I misgendered you. That he does not have the transgendered. I'm an autist, but not autistic. There's Okay, so everybody here is transgendered or autistic, is that correct? Okay, so good. I have water filters. That's pretty far out there. Uh, I still need I need to do like a Margaret reacts to Alex Jones because I've only seen like 14 seconds worth of him, tops. I see a lot of pictures. I see all the May-Mays, but I don't really spend too much time watching the poor feller. Only autists would watch you, Maggie. Oh, that's very sweet of you. You're just mad at me because I don't spend enough time on Steam. Mark, should Dylan Roof get away with it? No. Give him the chair. Give give him a decent haircut first, then give him the chair. At least give him that one humanitarian bit of uh, compassion before he dies, so he does not die with that haircut. So you're saying that the water is turning the frogs gay? My best friend who has Asperger's and was transgender, by the way, she's been manipulated to death. That's a sin. When I was your kids' age, when people had a mental disorder, we treated it. I, it's hard to say. The reason that I'm willing to say that the jury is still out on transgender disorder is because one, I don't really care too much, honestly. I just don't care. Um, See, here's the problem with the jury being out on transgender and whether or not the science is settled. A really good psychologist will spend a very long time working on their practice and they will spend years before they accept a certain, idea, yes or no. But the psychologists are moving at a snail's pace versus the trenders or all these young fashionable people who have the transgender. They're out there making YouTube videos, so it's a lot faster to get 10 YouTube videos out there saying I have a completely legitimate problem. You have to accept me or else you're a bigot. I'm going to go work for BuzzFeed now, versus the psychologists who are busy at work and don't have time to keep up letting the rest of the population know, like, well, we're still working on this issue, still working on it. We don't have enough daily vloggers who are also psychology PhDs. That is our problem. They used to treat ADHD with a paddle, and I don't know it would work, man. See, it's interesting for me because Oh no, I'm sorry, dear, you have the autism. So personally, I don't see any cure would benefit me. That's why people hate Autism Speaks. I think that's why, because they're always trying to push for an autism cure. Like I don't see it as an intrinsically bad thing to be on the spectrum. Like it's a lot different and it's gonna be a lot harder for you, but it's not necessary. It's not intrinsically bad to be on the autism spectrum, which is I've spent a lot of time on the internet. I don't have too many negative things to say about autism other than some of the facts. And as long as you know what you have, then know how to work with it. Autistic screeching. Just do a bleach enema? No. Oh yeah, no. You're not telling me to do a bleach enema. I was like, no, that's a terrible idea for video. But no, you're autism cured. Really terrible. You're not supposed to put anything in your butt unless directed by a doctor. Would you cure Chris Chan if you could? No, he's a treasure. I actually really like him. I don't want to make fun of him. I actually thoroughly enjoy Chris Chan. Um, some of you kids these days, I need a better word for this because I'm a millennial who remembers not having internet. I remember what the Hotmail page looked like when it first started. I remember the times before tabbed browsing. I remember a lot of these things. I remember going to at like a corner store and spending 250 on a floppy, not quite a floppy disk, but one of the smaller size disks that would have shareware on it, like DOS game shareware. Like, so I'm one of the millennials that like grew up with computers, but we didn't really grow up on computers. There's probably three different generations that grew up on computers. Like Gen X, I would say, grew up on computers because when they were at university, they had access to computers. And then there's kind of my generation, which is kind of a wedge, probably between like, you know, 28 and 34, 35, that grew up as computers started to get interesting. And then there's, kind of the under 25s where internet always existed. I completely forget what I was going with this. Oh yeah, so the idea, Chris is a Chan. Back in the day, you young kids will not remember this, but Chan, of course, is taken from a Japanese honorific. Uh, as the internet is wont to do, they would take a Japanese custom and absolutely ruin it and place it on the internet for fun, for the lols, as they are generally denoted. Oh, that reminds me, I have to do a stream at some point explaining to you why lols are the currency of the internet. But anyway, back to Chris Chan. Anybody who would make a real big name for themselves, usually for a very bad reason, on 4chan would get the appellation Chan. Um, Boxy was one of the few people. Boxy was notably one of the few people who did not get the Chan at the end of her name. They had, I think it was Creepy Chan. There's Chris Chan. So a lot of these people who were known on like a first name basis on the Chans ended up with the Chan appellation at the end of their name. So so for years and years and years, we've all been calling him Chris Chan, and he's just an absolute treasure. You can buy stuff. I think he has an Etsy store. You can buy handmade medallions, Sonichu medallions, which would be fantastic. He should sell those for like $200 a pop because people would pay for them. It'd be fantastic. Check the comment section. Autism is only bad once you start jerking off to Sonic. Yeah, I, I'm gonna tend to agree with that. I can understand jerking off to Tails, but to each their own. I don't know why you'd pick Sonic. The autism spectrum is real, though. Very, very true. My friend has a form of autism and he can function better than I can. Maybe I'm autistic or just retarded. I always think here's a here's something to mess up your little brain function for the evening. But do you ever wonder whether or not you're just really stupid and everybody's far too nice to tell you? Tricking off to Robotnik. Thank you, comment section. I'm really hoping that you are transgender. I hope everybody in my comment section is transgender right now, because it'd be lovely to see you all around. Do you see who went trans? Zoe Quinn. I know. How dare you bring up Zoe Quinn on my channel? Oh man. Yeah, what is it? Five Guys, burgers and fries, added a hot dog to the menu, to the tasting menu, I guess. Dear God, she's agender. These failures. What's her real name? Chelsea Vaughn. My parents have a lot of money, like Vackenberg or something. I'm cutting my dick off as you speak. Thanks. See, that's how you get into the spirit of the stream. I'm drinking Angry Orchard. Sorry, orchid is a flower. Angry Orchard hard cider. Oh, it's gluten-free. Fantastic. And it's got a picture of a tree on it. That's very nice. Will Pence force bi people to pick a side? I don't know. Oh, I found out the cutest thing about Mike Pence the other day. Pence has a bunny rabbit, which is, kind of adorable. He has two cats, which are okay, and he has a bunny rabbit, and his bunny is named Marlon Bundo. It's like Brando, except it's got bunny in it. Aw. Hey Margaret, when are you gonna get your surgery for the wee wee? When am I gonna finally get my transition surgery? I'm so glad you asked. Um, I should really add transition on my Patreon goals. I think that's it. Instead of using Patreon money to, kind of fund the fact that I like to do these things, I should really just. Uh, oh, can somebody do some digging for me for a minute? Who is the crazy transgender person who started, what is it, a GoFundMe saying that they were in like a terrible accident and they had it was like the Iron Man story. They said they had all kinds of like shards in their body that were slowly working their way to their heart and they needed it or else they were gonna die, but they were actually just looking for money to get their dick cut off or something. Is Lauren Southern technically a man now? Yes, and I would appreciate it if you wouldn't misgender him. Let's see, the answer is yeah, Zoe Quinn. Crazy trans, right? You have to be more specific. Yeah, it's too bad. Yeah, but you always had to keep running these streams saying it's like, well, I know people who are transgender who are nice. It's like, well, obviously, everybody already knows that. Stephanie Welshcott. Ugh, no, not Stephanie. Mr. Lauren is hot. No homo. No homo. That tranny was the one who got some journo fired. Yeah, see, this is the problem. We're saying these incredibly specific things, but we're just like, who exactly do you mean here? Chloe Segal. Oh yeah, that's right. That is exactly it. Chloe Segal. Let's take a look see here. First thing that pops up, Encyclopedia Dramatica. Let's take a look at her Patreon. I'm not making fun of Patreons because I use it. I should really shill it more often. I'm not good at that. I should end all my videos being like, and I have a Patreon, and you should like totally send money to it. But I should probably do it. Let's before we even get started into the science and the political correctness of transgenders and autistic people, let's read Chloe Segal's Patreon page. Hi everyone, I'm Chloe. They always pick names like Chloe and Sophie. I think Sophie's the top name. Ah, it's too bad. There really are like a few transgender people who are super cool, and then all these just absolute nut jobs. Oh my God, she has autistic written on this. I think we're getting somewhere, guys. I think we're getting somewhere. Hi everyone, I'm Chloe, and I like to do a lot of stuff that I like to share with everyone. I am a disabled autistic Romani You're a gypsy. I'm a disabled autistic Romani trans woman with chronic pain issues who's been often displaced because you're a gypsy and has had my work and progress destroyed due to various issues. And in recent years, I've been able to share my work with the world. There are many things I love to do, many talents I want to share with people, the majority of which will come in the form of art and game design. They're always game designers. Where did I do. Oh, she talks a lot. Because of this lack of familial support and stability, oh no, she's never had stable housing before. I've never been able to make it through the process to receive disability benefits. It makes maintaining regular health care difficult, and have suffered many abuses attempting to be heard and get the proper treatment from always having to shuffle through new doctors. One of the things that has helped me cope is diving headfirst into a new skill or pursuing one of the ones I've learned over the years from traveling through different areas. This is a run-on sentence, lady. Um, I'm an extremely giving person, so you should give me money. I am oh, here's a little credo at the end. I am disabled, not weak. I am autistic, not incompetent. I am Romani. I am not what you say I am. I am trans. I am a woman. Thank you for all of your support you've given me so far. All of you together have saved my life. First post, all white people are racist. Why does it have to be this way? Why does it have to be this way? Why is it always? Current project. Chloe, you're making this too easy for me. Assault. That doesn't look like anything. Looks like he wrote something on a chalkboard and tried to wipe it off. Is that a dick? I I I think, I don't wanna be that guy, but I'm pretty sure that that's a little phallic right there. Oh, she spent a lot of time fleshing it out. Oh, geez. Oh, honey. Oh, honey. Art. Art. Uh, and I was singing to myself the other day. I don't have much on my walls. I just, because I'm a complete loser, I bought some commemorative Star Trek stamps from from Canada Post Office because this is why I can't make fun of people with autism because I spend money buying Star Trek stamps. I need more stuff on my walls because I have a lot of wall here. I'd really like to get myself like a framed print of what is it? You know that kid? I it's hard to explain. Who's the name of that actress? Zoe something or other. I have to look. The one who has no body. She's like worse than a brick, and there's some like Mexican kid in the background after having opened her limo door, just staring at her like, ugh, giving her one of these. Like, I want that kid's face plastered on my wall. Let's take a minute, take a look at the chat. Saldana? No, not Zoe Saldana. She's attractive. Uh, Star Trek. Original series Star Trek. OVS. OVS. Why is it that God, none of these actresses these days have waists on them. Has anyone else noticed this? They're all like bricks up and down. Zoe Grace Moritz, that's it. Grace Moritz or Moritz? Chloe Moretz. What the fuck is her name? But you know that fantastic picture of her? I had to find that. I'll show you the picture of a kid's face that I'd love to have just plastered over my wall. Because his disgust just makes me absolutely just so happy inside. So very happy. Where's that? Where's that Mexican kid? Maybe he's not from Mexico. I don't know. Let's see. Open it up in the big tab here. Yeah, that kid's face right there. They're just. I don't know if my face is in the way on. I don't know if you can really see this properly. Move that over a bit. Yeah, this kid. This is a face that I just absolutely love. Look at. Just love to have that kid's face on my wall. Also, like, spend a minute thinking about this, guys. It's just a few things just aren't right about it. She looks like she's in Photoshop together. Move face cam to the other side. It's too late for that. Too late. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Yeah, whatever passes for female stars these days, none of them have like the tucked in waist that you got up until like the 70s. Yeah, that kid's face. Oh man, what a champ that guy. Like his family would have worked so hard to get into America, and he's working so hard. He's so young. He gets up early every day to go to work for some celebrity, and his parents are just telling him every day, like, you have to work hard, Carlos. You have to get up, go to your job. This is America. You will get there. And he's achieving his American dream. And then and then he just gets faced with the fact that this woman is considered an attractive movie star. Uh, just give that guy, if he doesn't have citizenship already, just fucking give it to him, I swear. Oh man, he's like 45. Are you sure? He's still got acne there, so anyway, so that's Chloe Segal. So Chloe is autistic. So if anybody's keeping score, just put that down. So this is really what I wanted to start with. I'll take another sip of my cider here. I don't know if you guys are playing the usual drinking game, which whenever I say something incredibly Canadian or apologize, you have to take a drink. Her nipple is showing. I don't want to see that. Okay, so this lovely article is printed in the Daily Mail. I don't care, Daily Mail is good people. And it's entitled, Children Who Think They Are Transgender Could Have Autism and Are Fixating on Their Sex, says expert. Dr. Kenneth Zucker says children may be suffering autism, anxiety, or depression. He said the autistic trait of fixating on subjects could convince children they are the wrong sex. He made the comments in a BBC documentary, Transgender Kids, Who Knows Best? Dr. Zucker lost his job amid claims he was trying to cure children. So this is probably going to be something that you'll continue to see in the news. He's a Canadian. Poor guy, poor guy. That documentary just aired a few days ago there, but oh, sorry, that was really Canadian sounding. So the documentary just aired a few days ago. I'm never gonna get rid of this accent. I'm never gonna get rid of this accent. I'm gonna sound hokey my entire life. But I haven't been able to find it because you need to live in the UK, yada yada yada, something like paying extra money for TV. So let's get working. Somebody's drinking whiskey. Good for you. Pray the autism away. I think that's how it works. Children facing hormone treatment after being diagnosed as transgender could in fact be autistic, according to a leading psychologist. Youngsters who believe they were born in the wrong body are 7 times more likely than others to be on the autistic spectrum, says Dr. Kenneth Zucker. The autistic trait of fixating on subjects could convince children they are the wrong sex, he added. Dr. Zucker was speaking after losing his job amid claims that he was trying to cure children by questioning why they become gender confused. Yeah, well, you don't want to cure children who are gender confused. You just want to pump them full of chemicals. Say, there you are, you're a girl now. He believes they may be suffering from autism, anxiety, or depression, with many growing up not to need sex change surgery they may regret. Okay, one thing I will add here, it takes many months for a good psychologist to come up with a diagnosis. Like if you go to see a regular doctor, like your GP, and you say, well, my arm hurts, or if you have some weird ache, they'll say, okay, I can't diagnose you with something this quickly. You have to go see a specialist. It's going to take a while. We're going to have to run a whole bunch of tests on you. This guy's probably just trying to do the same thing with a kid, saying, okay, before we decide what's wrong with you, we have to check this. Like I went to my doctor the other day. I was trying to figure out why I was so exhausted and just like confused and lazy and everything. And she's like, okay, there's a bunch of different things it can be, but before I try to diagnose you, I'm going to run you through like complete blood work and we'll see if there's anything wrong there. You know, it turns out that I had a few deficiencies. It's like, oh, I have anemia and I have this and that and the other thing. It's really important to spend time really carefully looking over somebody's full, complete health picture before you try to shove a diagnosis on them. In a documentary on BBC Two tonight, the Canadian, it's always the Canadians, the Canadian child psychologist said of the link with autism, it's possible that kids who have a tendency to get obsessed or fixated on something may latch onto gender. Just because kids are saying something doesn't necessarily mean you accept it or that it's true, or that it could be in the best interests of the child. His view on autism is backed up by a Dutch study that found almost 8% of patients at a gender identity clinic were on the autism spectrum, 7 times the general rate. It has been suggested that cross-gender behavior may be caused by some autistic children's attraction to unusual interests. So I guess in this case, instead of focusing in on trains, you just get focused in on your dick. Because maybe this is the thing. Maybe because kids aren't allowed to go outside anymore, you're not allowed to focus on things like train spotting. You have to focus on the only thing that you're allowed to look at, which is yourself in your home. Where's my Nobel Prize for science? I just figured that out right here. Where's my Nobel Prize? Where's my psychology degree? I have a degree in e-psychology. That's all I need. In Britain, children can be given hormone blockers to stop puberty from the age of 10. Male to female or female to male sex hormones at 16 and can undergo a full sex change at 18. So it's just the blockers when they're under 18 and then no surgery until after 18. Referrals to the only transgender clinic for youngsters in the UK are 10 times the number 5 years ago. Okay, so does this mean transgender diagnoses are 10 times higher? Sounds like it. Well, it's probably obvious that the diagnosis of transgender is 10 times higher than it was 5 years ago in the UK. Whether or not that number is inflated by doctors who are misdiagnosing, let's see. Check the comment section. Go to the doctor. Me, why am I so tired? The doctor's, you're gay. This is why God doesn't talk to us anymore. I focus on cartoons. Any cartoon trivia, I soak up like a sponge. I'm not even on the spectrum. I'm just I'm just able to focus on things. Not everybody who focuses on things is even on the spectrum, because everybody's different. Everybody's different. Margaret's maple lisp. Don't make fun of me. Don't make fun of my accent, jerk. That's my word. Maple is my word. You're not allowed to say it. You don't know what that word means. You don't know what my people have suffered through. We've suffered through Trudeau. Let's keep reading this. In the BBC program, yada yada yada. Oh. In the BBC program Transgender Kids, who knows best? A woman named as Lou reveals she is haunted by the double mastectomy she had aged 20 to become a man, a decision she now bitterly regrets. The darkest moment was when I realized I had actually looked normal for a girl, that I had been slim and pretty, she said. Now, as a result of having transitioned, I will always have a female body that is freakish. That really is very, very sad. The reason that people should be questioning and should be open to the fact that transgender is perhaps overdiagnosed is it's not because we hate it's really not at a place of hate. It's because we really feel for them and we don't want them to make a decision that will hurt them later on in their life. After Dr. Zucker lost his job at the Center for Addiction and Mental Health in Toronto, 500 clinicians and academics signed a petition in protest against the political decision. He had been accused of trying to use conversion therapy to cure gender-confused children, despite recommending medical intervention for those who continued to feel that they were in the wrong body. Okay, so he is allowing a percentage of his patients to continue with transgender transitioning, and some of them he's trying to go through different therapies. Seems like a very reasonable stance for this fellow to have. He was even told he could be putting children at risk of suicide by trying to discover if they had other mental health issues. Questioning whether these children should receive treatment, he once said, "A 4-year-old might say that he is a dog. Do you go out and buy him dog food?" I did the same thing when I was a kid. I wanted to be a cat when I grew up. My parents did not get me whisker surgery. I should sue them. With studies suggesting 80% of gender-confused people never had sex change treatment, Dr. Zucker said, you're always trying to think about what these behaviors mean. You're always trying to understand what is the relationship between the surface behaviors and underlying feelings. But Herschel Russell, a transgender psychotherapist and activist, who is going to be good, accused in Toronto was a mistake. If you're not from Canada and you go to Toronto, please do not judge the rest of us by what Toronto's up to, please. Accused him of a okay, but Herschel Russell, this guy's name is too hard to pronounce. But Herschel Russell, a transgender psychotherapist and activist in Toronto, accused him of a drop the Barbie approach to force children into their natural gender. The Center for Addiction and Mental Health declined to comment. Carol Povey of the Center for Autism at the National Autistic Society said, there is work to be done to understand how being autistic and transgender may interplay. There is no one type of autistic person, and like anyone else, when an autistic person questions their born gender, they should get the help and support that they need. I don't think anybody's arguing that. This means being able to decide on a route that is right for them with a team of professionals who understand them. That's the end of that article. Oh, let's see the comments. Let's read the worst comments first. I never want to read the top comments. I always want to read the the lowest rated comments. Worst rated. So I'll read these and take a look at the chat here. Okay, worst rated comments on this article. The worst rated comment is somebody from Canada saying, anxiety or depression making you want to have a sex change? Is this guy insane himself? Millions of people have anxiety and depression. Only a tiny amount of people are transgendered. Someone else says, looking at his study, it is not very organized and is almost a hoarder. Looking at his study, he is not very organized and is almost a hoarder, which is a mental illness. Tidy up, please. Okay, they're complaining about this guy's office space. I don't know if anybody has been to university here, but if you've ever been in a university office, this is what a professor does because that is all the room that they have. Everything gets stacked up everywhere. Let's see, comment section says, autistic and transgender, double the victim status. What's not to like? if you're Canadian, please do not judge the US by Detroit. No promises, no promises. Is this chat really just for autists and transgenders? Yes, yes it is. I'm assuming everybody here is one or hopefully both. You can keep eating dog food till your tears smell like dog food. And then maybe then Santa's little helper will come back. Damn, I thought I almost had him eating dog food. Thank you, old Simpsons reference person. I appreciate it. The Young Turks live stream only has 80 more viewers than Margaret. I'd never heard of the live. I'd never heard of the lives. What is it? The Young Turks? Yeah, I'd never heard of them until we were forced to watch some of their junk in one of the poli-sci classes I took. I'm wearing my mother's underwear right now, so fuck off. You know what? You can wear your mother's underwear if you want. Ask us a question, Mag. I don't know, just I don't know, what do you think? Is Canada that much in trouble? It's probably my question. I always wonder what everybody else thinks of Canada, but then I remembered that it's awfully self-important of me as a Canadian to think that everybody else should bother with a with sparing us a thought at all. So here's another article. Get this all lined up here. Are you wearing a slanket or a hideous jumper? I'm wearing a really nice sweater, whatever. It's super comfy. It goes up super high. I love it. It is tray cozy. Margaret, no one thinks of it, Canada. Good. Are there black people in Canada? Um, this is gonna sound bad, but because it's too cold to grow cotton in Canada, so we have a lower black population. But actually in my town we have a decent black population because a lot of them were loyalists. So during so during independence, we ended up with a lot of black people moving to Canada because, we were and still are, under the monarchy. I don't know what's going on in Toronto. There are black people again. If you eat enough carrots, you'll start to notice your skin change toning. Yeah, that's why you shouldn't eat that many carrots. Vegetables are wrong. Vegetables are a mistake. Are there people of Chinese descent in Canada? Yeah, it's called Vancouver. Again, it's just true. That's how it is. We actually have a really big Sikh population in Vancouver, but you never hear about it because people who are Sikh are chill as hell because the entire Sikh religion is intended to strike a balance between Christians and Muslims. So the whole their whole religion is just like, please everybody chill the hell out. We're just gonna hang back and do our own thing. So yeah, we have a lot of we have a pretty decent Sikh population, but you just never hear about them because they never complain. Sorry, clear my throat here. Do you have any of those weird Canadian milk bags? I haven't seen those in stores in a very long time. Okay, so here's another article I want to read you. This is from last year. And it's entitled "The Link Between Autism and Trans Identity." And the tag on here: confusion over why autism is so prevalent among transgender people may be limiting their access to medical care. Okay, one more sip of the cider. Earlier this year, police in Arizona killed Caden Clark. The officers were called to Clark's house after neighbors reported that he might be about to commit suicide. According to the police report, the officers opened fire when Clark approached them with a knife. Friends and family members of Clark have said they do not believe Clark posed any such threat. Clark was a trans man who had autism. He was well known for documenting his mental health struggles in homemade YouTube videos, which he also used to regularly detail the difficulty of finding medical professionals willing to help him with his transition. You know what, no matter where you are in life, everybody deserves. Everybody in Canada, wait a second. Everybody deserves, medical help in Canada because that's how Canada works. But if you live in Canada, you're going to spend months and months waiting to see a specialist. So I can definitely understand this and yada, yada, yada. It's terrible. but he had a knife. Very true. Yeah, okay. He was well known for documenting his mental health struggles in homemade YouTube videos, which he also used regularly detail the difficulty of finding medical professionals willing to help him with his transition. After his death, the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, a non-profit disability rights organization, said in a statement that Clark had experienced multiple roadblocks to transition and encountered numerous healthcare professionals who failed to respect either his gender identity or his autistic identity. Autism is now an identity in the current year -1, because this is from 2016. Wasn't current year 2015? Is that the new like AD? Right now we're in current year +2, to be quite honest with you. Clark's therapist, for example, the statement said, would not approve his starting on hormones until after his autism spectrum disorder, which she referred to as a disease, was cured. Okay, so Clark had a really terrible therapist because autism is not a disease, and I don't think you can cure it, and having autism isn't necessarily bad. This, I find that the way that I'm approaching this, I'm probably still going to get, some people slightly annoyed at the way that I'm doing this stream, but I'm trying to do it without really trying to insult people who have autism or transgender people. But you know what? That's what the chat is for. I will say the nice things. You guys can say other things. The statement outlined the uphill struggle that people with autism face when it comes to transition-related care, highlighting how hormone therapy and other medical assistance is often deemed redundant or dismissed as an obsessive trait or part of a strictly autistic profile. Research on the overlap between autism and gender diversity, a term used to define those who, either by nature or choice, do not conform to conventional gender-based expectations, is a relatively new field. So we have a new word here, gender diversity. Add that to your lexicon. Earlier this year, Spectrum, a website dedicated to in-depth analysis of autism research, published an extensive investigation that explores this relatively untrodden ground, explaining that over the past 5 years there have been only a handful of studies that trace a co-occurrence between the autism and gender diversities. In one of the first major studies carried out in Holland, researchers examined 204 children and adolescents who identified as gender dysphoric, a condition where a person experiences discomfort or distress due to mismatch between their biological sex and gender identity, and found a 7.8% prevalence of autism, which is quite a bit. Check the comments here. Margaret, your video's streaming is freezing sometimes. Build the PC. I have most of the PC parts behind me now. And then we will have lovely, glorious, absolutely fantastic streams. And I will do better makeup for them. I won't just look like a frump. Or maybe I will. I'll just pretend that this is comfy. Researchers in the field have speculated about the reasons behind this co-occurrence, but the social and cultural implications of this correlation are proving problematic for trans autistic communities. Is there really a trans and autistic community now? Is this new? Some healthcare professionals are now telling trans individuals on the autism spectrum that the need to transition is a result of their autism, a classic misreading of causation versus correlation. And as in Clark's case, the mistake appears to be limiting access to medical care. Okay, so it looks like none of the therapists. See, one thing that I should mention to you, there is a massive difference between a therapist and a psychologist. A therapist does not necessarily have to have any degrees. This is a huge problem in America, actually. There's a whole bunch of there are so many therapists who pretty much just have a like a bachelor's degree and then a certificate. There's no real word for the difference. It's kind of like how a dietitian is somebody who has an advanced degree and a nutritionist is just somebody who took a course and calls himself a nutritionist. A psychologist is somebody who has a lot of clinical experience and a therapist does not. You have to be so careful in America when you pick a therapist. Honestly, if you're picking a therapist, you have to find somebody who's worked in a medical setting, like a hospital. If you're going to pick a therapist, like I know people who work in these fields, so this is really, really bad in America, but you have to find somebody who's worked in a hospital. That's your way to find somebody who actually knows what the hell they're talking about because they've worked with doctors and they've worked with doctors and patients at the same time. That's the kind of experience you're looking for. Check the comments. Therapists are social workers. Yeah, pretty much. I'm fine with trannies if they're attractive. Yeah, I have no problem with it. I just don't even like, I don't know much about transgender issues. I wouldn't know where to start reading. There's so much information up in the air, and there are so many points on either side that I don't know which side to come down on. Because, of course, there are some chromosomal disorders where, women can have an XX and a Y chromosome, and that works out differently. And there are intersex people that, um, have the phenotypes of both men and women. It's really difficult. It is there is a line. It's male and female, and there's fuzziness on the inside because nature can do crazy stuff. Whatever happened? If for the record, my mom went to college to be a nutritionist. She has a major degree. Yeah, well, this is a Canadian thing. I don't know how it is in Canada, but a dietitian is a specific thing. You probably have a master's more if you are a dietitian versus a nutritionist, which is it's not really a legal thing. How do you feel about the whole trans bathroom thing? I do not care. I wish I could care about the trans bathroom debate, but I have a bowel disease. Right, if I had to use the bathroom very badly, well, like this isn't really my problem anymore, but I do know people in this stage of their life because I've spoken to hundreds of patients. I used to do like the circuit and speak uh, to other patients, and I've got to meet so many of them and they're lovely. But if somebody who has bowel disease, or if they have bowel cancer, or if they have a problem with their urinary tract, a lot of these issues, I think it's mostly a lot of men are getting bowel and rectal cancer. So should be like a male thing, honestly. And a lot of older men have issues with urination. I know this should be like a laughter thing, but this is actually serious business. There are so many diseases that mess up with the way that normal people have to use the bathroom, and there are no legal protections in Canada, and only a few American states do people who have like any sort of bathroom issue have a legal protection or a legal way to be allowed to use like a staff washroom or another gender's washroom. So if somebody has rectal cancer and they really have to use the bathroom, they have to wait in the line with everyone else, even though they're probably going to end up soiling themselves and being incredibly embarrassed and have to go home. But nobody cares about that because it's gross and it's about cancer and nobody wants to think about it. And ew, that's too gross. If you're talking about transgender bathroom rights, you don't have to think about gross things like, people accidentally soiling themselves, even though that's what happens. You just get to talk about what a good person you are if you're talking about how important it is to have transgender bathroom rights and blah. I think that whoever's running a business should be able to make that call. you know, Crazy theory that whoever's running the business should be able to make that call because bathrooms are expensive. Um, but yeah, I think it's really, really sad. It there's a huge so I've met so many patients. I swear there's a huge social impact if you have like anything wrong with either one of you, like your urinary tract or your bowels. If you can't control those, you don't get to go outside. You do not get to go out because you never know when you have to use the bathroom. And there's not always a disabled bathroom. And if I'm a chick, I can't run into the guy's bathroom. I will get into trouble. So whenever people get caught talking about transgender bathrooms, I'm personally insulted because this people who have bowel cancer, I think, deserve bathroom rights more than transgender people. Sorry, my money's on the people with bowel cancer. I'd rather stick up for them than for the people who are transgender. Not that I dislike them or that I think that they ought not to use whatever bathroom that they feel like using. It's because I only have so much energy in a day. There's only 24 hours in a day. I'm going to be sleeping for a third of that day. If I can only spend 1 hour talking about bathroom rights, I'm going to talk about bowel cancer bathroom rights, not transgender bathroom rights. I don't have the time to care about, I do not have the time and the feels to care about both of these things, you know? So, so that is my off thing. That is my little like off and about thing. Cancer actually has really, really great PR, but I think that cancer is not working on the PR, which is like rectal and bowel and anal cancers, because it's killing young men. It's a men's issue, like a lot of those back end cancers. Anyway, that's enough about butt stuff. Let's take a look here. Oh, perfect. Oh, this is actually really nice. This is the next thing I wanted to talk about here. They talk about this one fellow, Simon Baron-Cohen, the director of the University of Cambridge's Autism Research Center, hypothesized that autism was a symptom of the extreme male brain. I think I first heard about this. I think it may have been Penelope Trunk, who has Asperger's and blogs about it. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look at this article from 2008 and read a bit more about the extreme male brain. Men's cancer is not fashionable, so nobody cares. Yeah. No, it's not. It's not Borat. um, it is not Borat. Simon Baron-Cohen, not Sasha. So, article from 2008 in Psychology Today, entitled "Male Brain versus Female Brain 2. What is an extreme male brain and what is an extreme female brain?" So let's read through this. I'll let you guys take a look. Both the systematizing and mechanistic skills characteristics of the male brain and the emphasizing. Everybody drink. I can't say words. Why would you start an article with a whole bunch of really hard to pronounce words, guys? Why would you do that? Both the systematizing mechanistic skills characteristic of the male brain and the empathizing and mentalistic skills characteristic is that because women are mental, I guess that's what they're saying. And the emphasizing and mentalistic skills characteristic of the female brain are normally distributed in the population. It means that most men and most women have their sex-typical brains in the moderate range, but some people have extremely strong or extremely weak versions. Just like how some people are average height, but some people are extremely tall and some are extremely short. I feel triggered by this. As a 5'2" master race, I'm very triggered by this. So what is the extreme male brain and what is the extreme female brain? Borat revolutionized the study of autism and autism spectrum disorders by suggesting that autism is a manifestation of an extreme male brain. The male brain tends towards systematizing and mechanistic thinking, treating other people as if they were logical systems or machines. If you take this tendency to an extreme, you would treat everyone as if they were machines without minds or feelings. That, according to Baron-Cohen, is the essence of autism, which he calls mind blindness. I'll take a minute here to explain. One of the big things about like autism or autism spectrum disorder, it's kind of a problem with the theory of mind. You're just gonna have to look that up on your own. But they're not quite able to recognize that another person is another person. That's just a really difficult concept for them. This is why the internet ends up being quote unquote autistic, because if you're on the internet, everyone that you're talking to does not seem like they're a real person. So you're just going to say crazy stuff to them because they do not seem real to you. You're just looking at a screen. That's why the internet is autistic. That's why people call the internet autistic, because your mind isn't really registering the fact that you're interacting with people who are real people. And that's just kind of the essence of autism. Mind-blind people, autistics, are blind to each other's minds and emotions. In fact, they don't even know that other people have minds separate from their own. Autistics tend to assume that other people know and think exactly what they do. I'll read this over again, and I want you to think about special snowflakes who get incredibly triggered by people who have a different opinion than them. Mind-blind people are blind to other people's minds or emotions. In fact, they don't know that other people have minds separate from their own. Autistics tend to assume that other people know and think exactly what they do. So if you have mind blindness, you can't handle people who have an emotion or a thought or a feeling or some sort of expression that is different from what's in your own head. If you're mind blind, you assume that everybody knows exactly what you know. So, yeah, think about that for a minute. I hope you guys are enjoying my lectures here. I think it's fun. I'm pretty much just doing these off the cuff. I prepare a few articles that I want to read and I have like a broad idea of what I'm going to go through, but I don't really come up with any conclusions until I'm actually doing this. And I don't really write notes beforehand. I just prefer this model. So stick a bookmark in that, but maybe this mind blindness and autism is which is so characteristic of internet interaction, is really kind of an SJW because everyone I don't like is an SJW. It's an SJW tactic to get incredibly upset if somebody else expresses an opinion that is not the same opinion that you have. Even after Baron Cohen figured out the essence of autism as an extreme male brain, the nature of the other extreme, an extreme female brain, remained a puzzle until Bernard Crespi and Christopher Badcock, nice name, buddy, Badcock, figured out what an extreme male brain, female brain might equal. I see the word schizophrenic coming up. This is going to be good. Because, what is it? People are always saying that, if you're like a trans woman, you have a more feminized brain, so they're just trying to get their body to match that. So it's interesting to read that there is, work being done in the fact that there is a spectrum of what brains are like. Crazy women. The female brain tends towards empathizing and mentalizing, thinking, treating machines and objects as if they were other people. They attribute minds, thoughts, and feelings to inanimate objects. I say this as a person who still has uh, like stuffed animals, and I have nicknames for basically everything I own. A few key things in my life are colored pink, like I have a big makeup train case that's pink, and no, I don't have my pink house coat anymore. But just everything I own that is pink, I just call my pinky because I'm a girl. This is how girls think. I'm an adult and I have no problem admitting this. But yeah, I can see this. Girls are always the one just trying to. We like cute stuff. We like, if you see what girls like to buy, we like to buy stuff with faces on them or stuff that's cute. I guess we're trying to attribute a mind or a thought or a feeling to inanimate objects, and that's why it's so girly. Oh, I think I missed some lols in the comment section here. Are you talking about whether or not it's wait a second, why don't girls get autism? Women do get autism, except they're underdiagnosed, I think, honestly. Do you think that limited socialization may be leading to overdiagnosis? I think that limited socialization is probably leading to a lot of things. I don't know about overdiagnosis there. This explains why 4chan loves anime. Yeah, 4chan is autistic and also transgender. That's why they love traps so much. I know a woman with Asperger's. Yeah, a woman who has Asperger's is going to be a lot different than a man with it. Maybe it's because of this brain science that a female brain, if it focuses on something, it focuses much differently than a male does. The female brain, yada yada yada. That, according to Crespi and Badcock, is the essence of paranoid schizophrenia. Okay, so the female brain is similar in essence to paranoid schizophrenia, and the extreme male brain is similar in essence to autism. Great choices that we have here. So are transgender women schizophrenic? I don't know how this is going. Paranoid schizophrenics hear voices when there are no people, and they attribute minds and thinking where none exist, such as when they believe other people are talking about or conspiring against them when they aren't. I'm I'm pretty sure that this theory is it's not quite working. It's kind of falling out. This is can you get Asperger's, Marg? No. Maybe if I tried really hard, maybe if I stared at the sun for long enough without any sunglasses on, I would get Asperger's. That'd be pretty cool. So what do you guys think about all this anyway? There's a lot of articles if you just pump into the Google machine. If you pump into the Google machine asking Google to tell you more about autism and transgender disorders, nothing has really been scrubbed yet. So you'll find a lot of super interesting information. So what do you think, chat? So yeah, good old. I started this basically on Chris Chan, just kind of a joke. But yeah, even if we just use him as a model, I think that he's still a pretty good model. Okay, chat section. What do you think? Do you think that people who are transgender are really just autistic? Do you think it's trans men or trans women who are more autistic than the other? Can you do a hate fact ASMR video? I'd probably get banned if I did a hate fact ASMR video. Asperger's or Asperger's. Either pronunciation is acceptable, either Asperger's or Asperger's. I think it's a German name, so you never know. Christian is what happens when autists are coddled by their psychotic mothers. Poor Christian. He was just, from the start, he was just never going to have it easy. The chat is autistic. I hope so. It's supposed to be. Kirk had the extreme female brain. What do you mean, like Captain Kirk? Or is this somebody different? Asperger's. Yeah, I think it's Asperger's, but yeah, Asperger's is also an accepted pronunciation. What do you think? Trans men are the most autistic. I don't know. I need a bigger sample size. I don't know enough people personally. That's the problem. I don't know enough people personally, and I don't know enough about all the information that's coming in. But I do know that things get absolutely insane because people who don't really understand the science are out there making YouTube videos on the daily talking about transgender issues, and the rest of us are like, well, wait, like I don't really like, we all like laugh and joke on the internet, but nobody really wants to go out of their way to be too much of a jerk in real life because it's probably just not worth our time. So we'd like to just read one or two little articles and be like, okay, somebody please explain this to me scientifically. But it's really hard to find good information. Man, all this talk about Christian makes me miss Bob. There can only be one. Autists must kill each other to gain their power and become the ultimate autistic godhead. Oh, speaking of the Highlander, I'd like to point out that Donald Trump is going to be 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days on inauguration next week. Even if the data was collected correctly, women ugh, my voice. It's 1:30 in the morning in Canada. Even if the data was collected correctly, women exhibit more autistic traits in general that fly under the radar as, oh, this woman has autism, so they're less likely to be diagnosed. I think most people suffer from media miscomprehension syndrome. Some of either group are self-diagnosing. This is very, very true. I thought it was interesting with that Dr. Kenneth, what's his name, the Canadian guy. He was only letting in a small percentage of his patients go through with like the puberty blockers and the surgery, and the rest, and then a large majority of his patients, he was saying, there's probably something else wrong with you. So, I have Asperger's. It sucks. No, but it's cool. It's good. It's good, darn it. Zephram Cochrane was autistic. Really? He seemed pretty social. I don't really know if Zephram Cochrane. Are we talking about original series or the movie one? I'm not even going to continue saying this because I really like Star Trek, okay? Margaret, if I saw you in real life, would I get a hug? Well, give me a warning first, but yeah, go for it. Autism tests are more male oriented. Oh, they are making a female version. That is very good. Do you have autism? No, I do not. I'm sorry. Sorry. Thoughts on Jordan Peterson with regards to trans issues, his political assessment of the thrust of the movement. I haven't watched much Jordan B. Peterson yet. Like a lot of times I'll put him on in the background and I'll treat it like radio. I was doing some cleaning around the house the other day and I was listening to the interview that he had with Taryn Meyer, which was really good. It was actually really fantastic because Taryn is just like a normal person. Like a rational transgender person who's like totally fine with, talking about people who might be trying to undermine her. Like it's like, oh no. See, for like everyone, like perfect, like it's so weird. She's so normal. You're just like, please say something crazy. Like I keep expecting something. You should be saying something crazy, but you're just constantly just a normie all the time. She's a normie. That's what I. That's my assessment. She is a normie. Taryn is a cutie. That's very true. I love her eyes. It's not fair. God damn it, it's not fair. Great cheekbones. Wow. Uh, comment section says, Margaret, your video about clickbait is the first thing in the related video feed and your boobs are distracting. I apologize. I'll try to dress I'll try to just comfy in all of my videos from now on. But yeah, it's getting on to 1:40 in the morning in Canada. I should probably I should probably get going now. But it was lovely to have you. I wish I could come up with more conclusions about this. I really do. But there's so much more. Now that we've cracked the shell in this, uh, I think we'll start seeing more and more about this. I'm pretty sure this is probably going to be the next. I'm going to be prescient and say that the next, like, 6 months, this is going to be the next big thing that we're going to be talking about. And a lot of maybe the crazy transgender people on YouTube will come out and say, oh, I am also autistic, because that'll be the next big trendy thing. And then the normal transgender people are like, please stop being so crazy. You're making the rest of us look bad. I really do think in the end, you're just going to end up with like a small percentage of people where transgender is a real thing, and then there's going to be a whole bunch of people who are trenders. Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know what to think. There's too much information. There's too much information. There's too much information, and you get stuck between a rock and a hard place because you actually know some of the people involved, and you don't actively hate them. So, trans autism becomes popular. Do you think? Do you think that'll be the next thing? Like, oh, I'd like to come out as autistic now. I was I was never autistic before, but I'd like you all to start treating me as if I had autism. So I'm just gonna yell at you for a bit. Uh, anyway, yes, good night, everybody. Trans tendies. uh, make autism great again. And yeah, it was lovely to have you guys here. I'm gonna put myself to bed. It's gonna be absolutely fantastic. Oh, sleeping is gonna feel so good. It's so chicken and egg. Isn't it just more likely that the trans lobby is tricking gullible autists into thinking they're trans? I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you. I wish I was smart enough to have an answer for you. Have you seen the folks that are harming themselves because they're trans-abled? Those people are pure crazy. But yeah, sleep tight, puppers. That's all I can say. Okay, good night, everybody. Everybody go to bed. I'll be like, okay, good night, everybody, and then I'll spend like the next half hour tweeting from bed. But yeah, it was lovely to have you. Where did I put everything? Oh, there you are, OBS. Okay, stop streaming now.